Welcome to Escape to the Country. Now, today I'm in a Welsh county that gave birth to an English king. So, where are we? Well, join me in just a few moments and I'll tell you. Our house hunters today are a couple who know what they want. I just need to work out what it is. Right, let's have it. What's going through your mind then, Sandy?
Doesn't know what he wants to be.
But I know exactly what to do when the going gets tough.
Oh, so you put him in the dungeons now?
Well, it was an old police station.
You've been locked away in the cellar.
Yes, you've been nicked. Down you go. Well, today we are in Monmouthshire, and these are the rather splendid remains of Monmouth Castle. It was here in the late 14th century that King Henry V was born. Crowned as the second Lancastrian king in 1413, he then embarked on an ambitious military campaign against the French, culminating, of course, in his famous victory against them at Agincourt in 1415. Now, since his premature death, aged just 35, his life has been immortalised in print, not least by Shakespeare, and on the silver screen. But for me, it's the legacy of this Welsh-born warrior that's really one of the county's crowning glories. Located in the southeast of Wales, Monmouthshire is on the border with England and Wales, with the English counties of Herefordshire and Gloucestershire to the east and the Welsh county of Powys to the west. To the east is the Wye Valley, which was once a hub of industry with iron mines, furnaces and intense timber production linked by the river to the docks of Bristol and the world beyond. All that remains today are villages like Llandogo, clinging to the valley sides, made up of small former workers' cottages built from the local lime and sandstone. To the northwest is the Brecon Beacons National Park, which was traditionally a more agricultural and panoramic landscape, and where larger stone farmhouses can be found. The county is also home to a vast array of ruins. Along with the county of Gwent next door, it's claimed to be the densest region for castles with more per square mile than anywhere else in Britain. There's no doubt that the Monmouthshire landscape provides a beautiful backdrop for those looking to exchange the hustle and bustle of city life for a slice of country living. When it comes to property, Monmouthshire is a real hotspot. It has some of the highest house prices in Wales. And when you consider the excellent transport links and beautiful scenery here, you can understand why, as a county, it's much sought after. And as for property prices, well, they make for some pretty interesting reading too. Your average detached here will set you back £246,000. But there is some good news in that. It's about £20,000 below the national figure for both England and Wales. So as you can see, if you want beautiful landscapes and value for money, Monmouthshire is a really good bet, which of course is just why today's buyers want to move here. Today's house hunters are ex-military personnel Sandy and Peter and their daughter Gwynera, who currently live in Bristol.
We first met at Farnborough. We were both serving at what was then RAF Farnborough, and we were staying in the officers' mess.
And we met at a dinner.
They were married in 2003 and 2 years ago had their daughter. Whilst Sandy works full-time as a GP, it's Peter who looks after their youngster.
I'm a freelance lawyer, but also a house husband, and it's a house husband that's the most challenging, I've got to admit. Despite all the time I spent serving in the military and all the time that I've spent as a lawyer, it's always at the end of the day as a house husband that I'm absolutely tired.
And it's their daughter who's prompted the big move.
We'd always intended to move. Bristol was never going to be our final place to stay. Gwynera coming along 2 years ago made that a little more hasty, and that's sort of how she became the kick up the backside we probably needed to get moving.
Their current home on the outskirts of Bristol just isn't what they want for Gwyn's upbringing.
Whilst it's a 4-bedroom home, we live in the middle of an estate here, and you know, you barely let her out into the back garden, let alone let her roam and climb trees and that sort of thing. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to grow up and explore.
Monmouth and Wye Valley, it's a beautiful part of the country. Even being an Englishman, moving into that part of Wales, it is fantastic.
Having had a childhood in Wales, Sandy wants Gwyn to enjoy some of that too.
Growing up, a sense of community, old mining towns and villages. It was that sense of being able to knock on doors and always getting help, that sense of community spirit. And that's probably the reason I want to move back, is to have my daughter growing up where people do care what's happening next door.
Since leaving the military, Peter has taken up golf, which he hopes will be easier to master once they move.
I've enjoyed playing golf for about 5-6 years now. I've got a good friend who talked me into golf, and I've been slowly trying to bring my handicap down ever since. It's coming down gradually where we'd like to move to. We're looking at lots of good quality courses.
But it's greens of another kind that interests Sandy.
I'd like to have a garden that's big enough to do flowers, the pretty side of things, the colours and all of those, but also to grow vegetables again, potatoes, carrots. But I need space for that, for a vegetable patch and a nursery.
And Sandy's other hobby of craft will have a definite impact on their property choice.
The room at the moment we've got set aside for crafts is just simply the bedroom, and it's just there's not enough space. And on top of that, I think if you want to get involved in your craft stuff, you've got to go up to the bedroom and leave everybody else.
When it comes to choosing their future home, it seems there's unlikely to be much disagreement.
I think you're the one that ultimately drives all of the decisions.
Daddy's the boss until Mummy comes home.
We're concentrating our search for their new family home on the glorious landscape of the Brecon Beacons in the west and the Wye Valley in the east. But what other needs are there? I'm meeting Sandy and Peter to find out. Well, Sandy, Peter, welcome to Escape to the Country.
Thank you for having us.
You finally decided to leave Bristol behind and head back to the hills, Sandy.
Definitely back to my, not quite roots, but almost there.
So you're going to keep working for a little while longer in Bristol, doing the commute. You're the stay-at-home dad.
Yes, yeah, it's complete opposite to what you'd normally have, really.
Give us the spec as the house husband.
Yes. I mean, broadly, in terms of the spec, I guess it's not too dissimilar from what we have. So it'd be sort of the kitchen, dining room, study, good living room. But I think you want a bigger kitchen.
Definitely.
We want sort of more space outside. At the moment, we've got 4 bedrooms, and we'd like 4 bedrooms, but one of those you use as the craft room. So we'd like something that we could perhaps adapt or have some options to play with to turn that into a proper craft room.
So just tell us about the budget. £500,000.
Yes.
It sounds great, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
It does.
And it is great.
Yes.
And in this part of the world, as you've probably already discovered, it should go a long way to getting you what you're after.
I mean, we've been looking for a year and a half, nearly 2 years. On and off.
But that's in earnest since Gwyn's been born.
Yeah.
Before that, perhaps longer. And we're looking up in the hundreds that we've looked at.
Wow. And we've just got 3
I know.
with which to tempt you with. What are we going to do, then, that you haven't done already?
We're very aware of what we want and sort of numbers and rooms and things like that. It's bringing in that view of, here's a house, but have you thought you could do this? Sort of bringing that creative angle to our scientific minds.
Well, I love getting creative over houses. I'm pretty sure we can help you. We've got 3 to show you, including our mystery house. Who knows what that's going to be, I wonder.
Looking forward to that one.
Yes,
Good.
very excited.
Let's go. Drink up. Good. £500,000 to spend. So for £500,000, our buyers are after a large kitchen space where the family can be together, a minimum of 4 bedrooms, a craft room for Sandy and a study for Peter. The house should be set in land big enough for a vegetable patch, and views of the Monmouthshire countryside would be a bonus. Sandy and Peter may well have viewed several hundred properties, but only online, so I can't wait to step them over the threshold of our 3 fantastic houses. I'll hold back on revealing the price until they've estimated it themselves, and our last property offering will be our mystery house, which this week could push our couple a step too far. Now, we've talked about your homecoming, Sandy, to Wales. Do you speak Welsh?
I spoke Welsh as a child, as every young girl growing up in Wales learned Welsh at primary school.
But of course, Gwyn is going to grow up, we hope, here, learning Welsh.
definitely. That's part of the reason for the move, is that she will have the opportunity to learn Welsh at school.
I'm looking forward to be able to show Gwyn the countryside, open spaces, and give her opportunities to explore.
For our first property, we're going close to the town of Abergavenny, on the edge of the Brecon Beacons National Park. It's a busy town which draws locals and tourists from around the region, with several markets held every week. Nestled between 7 hills, it's surrounded by beautiful scenery. 8 miles out of town, in a small hamlet of houses on the road to Monmouth, is our first property up for inspection. Right, duck under this tree. And there, hidden behind it, is property number 1.
Very pretty.
It's quite handsome, I think. It's a really interesting renovation, I think. It's all done. But the question I'm dying to know is, would you have come to look at this if you'd seen it online?
Don't know.
I'm not sure whether or not this initial shot would have made me think,
That's
gotta go
it,
in there,
go in
see
there.
it.
It's not that sort of, you know, yes, that's it.
Come and have a look.
Go.
Having not physically viewed any properties, it'll be interesting to see how Sandy and Peter fare with our first offering of a period house. Built in 1740, it has an extension which wraps around the back, and spread over 3 floors, it gives 4 bedrooms and some great downstairs living space. What do you think?
Cosy.
So this is which part of the extension of the kitchen?
Exactly. It's a really lavish sort of kitchen diner. You know, I think this is the room you would, be spending most of your time in. I'm not sure you're all running with it.
No, I reserve judgment till I've seen the whole property.
Peter?
I'm struggling to see Gwyn playing in here for a large percentage of her time, if this is one of the key rooms.
Ah, well, it's not the room.
Yes.
But certainly it's the everyday. Well, let's have a look at the kitchen and see what you think of this. There we go.
Okay, my initial thoughts were it's a little smaller than what you're
this is smaller than I've got now.
visually thinking
And
about.
I was hoping to go slightly bigger.
I love the style of this area.
Yeah.
I think it's just, how do you combine those two to make it into something that you'd want, that would work?
Well, hopefully it will make more sense once you've got the ground plan and the geography of it firmly etched into your minds. Let's continue this way. Back through the large dining room is a connecting room which could be a study or playroom, and this leads into the main living room.
Wow.
Yes?
Yes, yeah, I absolutely love the fireplace. That's a gorgeous feature.
And I love, the fact they've retained
Some of the old...
cupboards and the window seats and so forth. I mean, that was presumably a bread oven once upon a time over in the corner there. Is it growing on you?
I'm not sure. It hasn't bitten me yet and said,
Yeah.
wow, it's got great character.
Oh, well
It hasn't
preserved.
yet said to me, yes.
It doesn't quite got the checkbook out yet.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, but there are possibilities with this. And upstairs, we have got you 4 bedrooms, and they're good-sized bedrooms. I know that was important to you.
Yeah, it was.
Well, they're arranged over 2 more floors, so there's plenty to see. The final rooms on the ground floor are a conservatory, a utility room, and a shower room. Up on the first floor, there's a bedroom which could make a lovely room for Gwyn. A storage room used as a walk-in wardrobe, a family bathroom, and another characterful double. Now, this, I think, would make a great master bedroom for you two.
OK.
Yes.
Oh.
It doesn't...
No.
It doesn't quite grab me as a master bedroom.
It's a lovely guest room.
It's a lovely... Yeah, that's actually...
It's a beautiful guest
what
room.
I think. It's a beautiful guest room, lovely view out of the windows. It's great character.
No storage.
But in terms of practicalities, storage space.
I mean, upstairs you've got 2 further bedrooms which lead on to one another. I was guessing they might be guest rooms, but maybe that becomes a master suite. So with a few modifications, there could be a layout here which is preferable to Sandy and Peter. And outside, there's more to see, with a garden that I think could deliver on Sandy's green-fingered ambitions. Right then, the final bit.
OK.
It is this terraced arrangement, as you can see. Probably once upon a time, quite productive vegetable beds, actually. The other thing to point out is that underneath the house there is an enormous cellar. It's a huge space. Maybe, with a bit of renovation, that could be your craft room.
Oh, so you put me in the dungeons now?
Well, it was an old police station.
You've been locked away in the cellar.
Yes, you've been nicked. Down you go. But as a property as it stands, not a bad package, but I can see there are sorts of issues that we're struggling with.
Trying to balance period country living with practicalities of parenthood.
Well, let's see if we can help that balance with the price. So, Peter.
470.
470, yeah?
Bit lower, 465, 460.
Well, here's the thing. This could be yours for £429,000, leaving you a comfortable amount of change with which to play with. Why not go and take another look around, take your time and explore that top floor and see what you might do there.
Yes.
Maybe that's Gwyn's domain, who knows? Off you go, Nick. For a substantial £71,000 under budget, this three-storey 18th century cottage offers the 4 bedrooms they want, as well as 3 reception rooms and a modern country kitchen, although it is perhaps not as open and connected as Sandy and Peter would like. There's an option to convert the basement into a craft room, and it's set in just under half an acre of lawned garden. But is it right for the family's lifestyle?
It's a nice space.
I wouldn't see
One
this
of
as a
those.
master bedroom. Space and storage. Beautiful house, very sympathetically renovated, but struggling to see how current living space and period living space is going to match the practicalities of living with a child.
The house itself, it looks very pretty, very picturesque. It wouldn't have been on my wish list initially because I think the preconception that period houses, cottages, wouldn't necessarily have the floor space, wouldn't necessarily be set out as we'd want. This has challenged my ideas of what perhaps a period house would have been able to offer us.
It's a beautiful house. I can't see it being my home.
Right, it's time to go. All done?
Yeah,
All done?
we're done.
Lady and gentlemen?
Yes.
Oh, our period property has struggled with you, isn't it?
It has.
It hasn't looked very yet.
Well, let's see if number 2 does any better. Who knows? Maybe that's the one.
Let's go.
In the heart of Monmouthshire's Wye Valley stands Wales' greatest monastic ruin, Tintern Abbey. Built in 1131, it made a huge impact on the local area, with land stretching over 3,000 acres which would have been maintained by the local people. Today, on a 2.5-acre farm in the village of Tintern, is a winery believed to be on the site of the Abbey's original vineyard. Peter and Sandy are keen to discover more about the county and its attractions, so we've arranged for them to meet Judith Dudley, who, with her husband, owns and runs the Parva Farm Vineyard.
You can see here we've got, well, it's actually quite a small vineyard, about 4,500 vines, and there are 16 different varieties of vines growing here.
And do certain varieties lend themselves to different types of wines?
Yes, definitely. We grow Pinot Noir, which we find makes a lovely rosé and sparkling rosé. We have one called Sable Blanc, which is really good for sparkling wine. And our main variety here is one called Bacchus, which Bacchus was the god of wine, but it's also a vine variety. It's related to the Riesling grape from Germany, and it makes a lovely aromatic wine.
So what stage are we at now?
With the vines, we finished pruning. When we finish pruning, the sticks, or the shoots are sticking upwards. Our job now is to tie them down onto the lower wires. The reason for this is when they're sticking up, those end shoots grow faster than all the others. And if we tie them down, it gives these buds a chance to develop so they can grow as much as those ones. We have to persuade the vine to bend down to touch that bottom wire. If they're feeling stiff, you have to just sort of crack them a little bit so that they bend. And then we can tie them on down there. It's like a stapler. Okay.
If it's a bad year this year, it's not my fault. Okay. So just through.
That's right, and clip.
Right, so
So how long will this take you then, just doing the whole row?
I usually do 2 rows together. It takes me about an hour.
Okay. All right.
that seems very fast to me, considering how long these are, definitely.
These grapes will be ripe and ready for picking in October, and depending on the crop size, some years Judith and her husband Colin carry out the entire harvest themselves. The grapes are taken to a larger winery for pressing, fermentation and bottling, and it's around a year from picking to quaffing. But the farm doesn't just produce wine. In 2001, they started making mead, which has long been associated with the monks of the nearby Tintern Abbey who would have used it as a medicine.
So, is this a specific type of mead? Are there different types?
The traditional mead is honey and water just fermented together, but we're a vineyard, so we like to put wine in ours.
Why were monks producing mead then?
Well, mead has been produced for a long, long time. In fact, it's probably the oldest alcoholic drink that there is. This mead has honey, which is traditionally medicinal.
So it's a similar recipe to those that would have been used?
Well, this is a traditional recipe passed on to us by a gentleman from West Wales. It was his own secret recipe and he didn't tell us where he got it from. The spices we use are cinnamon, cloves, ginger and nutmeg. So it's
mulled wine.
Quite a mulled winey sort of flavour, I suppose. Would you like to try the honey?
Oh yes, please.
Sandy can try the honey, can't she? Made
So
by,
these come from the bottom of the drive?
From the bees down here, yes. Mostly wildflowers in this area.
That's gorgeous.
And then the final thing, of course, is the mead.
That's extremely rich and lovely and smooth. Oh, I do like that. Yeah.
I think you might have a regular customer.
Oh, I was going to say, if you move to the area, yes, you can pop in and see us whenever you like.
Well, and cheers and all the very best.
For our second property, we're going closer to the Welsh-English border and the town of Monmouth. It's a busy town with plenty of good shops, pubs, restaurants, as well as historic buildings. Over the River Monnow is a medieval 13th century bridge, unique in Britain. High above Monmouth and the Wye Valley in a panoramic location is our next house. Look at that for a view.
Wow.
OK, there's property number 2.
OK.
What are your thoughts?
Nice.
Yes, I mean, it looks nice from the outside, definitely.
Yeah.
I like the setting. Yeah, it's more modern than the last.
This is a house that started out probably as a 2-up, 2-down, and then it's been hugely sort of expanded. From the garden, it's a much more impressive prospect. Let's get on with it before we get wet.
Yes.
This property is a renovated stone cottage. Almost half of the house is a modern addition, so it gives Sandy and Peter a mixture of traditional rooms as well as more of the open and connected family spaces thereafter. You see, very different kind of feel, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got this sort of dining area here. What do you think of this, Sandy? Right, let's have it. What's going through your mind then, Sandy?
He doesn't know what he wants to be. It's very ill-defined.
I'm not sure about the size either and how we would utilise it as a dining room.
So we need more walls and doors.
This doesn't create a dining space. Just, yeah.
Just because it's got a dining table in it.
Yeah.
Well, come and have a look at the kitchen and see how it all works together. Very modern, again. Different feel to number 1.
Again, perhaps not as large as I'd have liked, but then maybe extended into the space there, which I feel is very much of a non-functional space.
Because what I keep forgetting, Peter, is that you are the one who's going to be at home. Yeah. Would it work for you?
Where's the microwave? That's about as far as it can come.
Yes, good space for that.
It's certainly much more open plan in this half of the house. The other half is much more traditional because it has rooms.
It has rooms.
It has real rooms. Come and look at this. So this is one of 2 reception rooms in the older part of the property. It's divided from its neighbour. There's another room exactly like this over there by the staircase.
OK.
Obviously the double doors there, which look out right across towards the Brecons. Now, in terms of space then, Peter.
Yeah, so I guess I've got the same feeling that you have maybe with the kitchen area, and that this doesn't feel well defined.
When we get outside to the garden, we'll take another look at this. There might be an opportunity to create more of a garden room. Also on the ground floor are a downstairs cloakroom and a utility room and garden room, which wraps around the back of the house. Upstairs, there are 4 bedrooms. One is small and used as a study. There are 2 doubles, 1 ensuite, and then served by a family bathroom, there is the final double with views out of 2 aspects. Now, we're suggesting that this would make a nice master. Knowing how you love a bit of storage, it has a walk-in wardrobe. All right, that's why we've decided that this is the master bedroom.
OK. And a reasonable sized bedroom.
But again, I think we might be struggling a bit.
Yeah. The views are what sells this as a bedroom, but again, it doesn't grab me.
So it seems the current size and layout of the house isn't ideal for them. At the back, however, in the garden, which includes lawn terraces, an ornamental pond and a large vegetable growing area, is where an opportunity to remodel is easiest to see. You could actually do something quite exciting in extending at single-storey level that ground floor plan to create a really nice kitchen stroke family room.
I was going to suggest even further, not just single story. I mean, I would have suggested that it comes out both levels.
Wow, I love it. I think sometimes a building needs a bold move to make it work. So all this ambition...
It's going to cost.
It's going to cost a bit. So let's see where property number 2 comes on the price scale. Go on then, madam.
I think you're going to be paying for that view and its location. I'd say about 510.
I'm not sure I'd go quite as high as that. I'd go 490.
490. It's 475.
OK.
That surprises me.
And open to offers. So I think you would find yourselves with some change
Yeah.
that would
Need a lot of that.
already make some inroads into satisfying your creative ambitions in turning this into something quite different, but very you.
Yeah.
Off you go. Go and get a pencil and paper out and start redesigning it. I will catch up with you a little bit later.
OK, thank you.
At £25,000 under budget, this hugely extended cottage offers traditional sitting rooms as well as an open-plan family space which currently is not quite right for Sandy. There are the 4 bedrooms they've requested and plenty of garden for veg patch options, but it would need a few adjustments and a possible extension to really create the perfect kitchen and craft space. But is it something Sandy and Peter are up for?
I mean, what really sells this house, I think, is it's got a stunning view and it's fantastic in terms of location, and it's really where we would like to move to. The problem I do have is it's not quite providing us the specifications that we'd want.
Inside, a lot of ill-defined spaces. Excellent basis for a new home, but it would take quite a lot of work to make it that.
Well, you know, I think this place has bags of potential, but what do they think? What do you think, you two? I think this is quite exciting. You could do all sorts of things. Have you re-engineered and redesigned it now?
Slightly more than a DIY project.
It is, but, you know, sometimes it's not about buying the perfect house, it's about making the perfect house. And you want somewhere that's going to last you a long time, so who knows? Shall we go? Come on.
Yep.
It's day 2 of our house hunt in Monmouthshire, where our buyers from Bristol have £500,000 to spend on a perfectly configured new home. Coming up, my exciting ideas don't seem to go down so well. Face like thunder. And I experience my quietest drive ever through one of my favourite landscapes. Well, let's face it, no trip house hunting to Wales would be the same without a day of rain. But what can we do on our final day with our final offering to try and resolve this enormous problem that Peter and Sandy are facing? You see, I think they've got into a bit of a muddle. They're so desperate to make this move work. They've looked at so many properties online and on paper, but they've also dismissed most of them. They don't really know, I think, what it is they are looking for. So for our mystery house, we're going to try something a little bit different. This is it. They have actually seen it on paper, but they have not, of course, been through the door. So let's let them into the secret of what it is they've been missing. For our mystery house, we're continuing to hug the border with the village of Pennacht, which is just 1 mile from England and is high on a hill above the town of Monmouth. It's set in an area of outstanding natural beauty and boasts an early 16th century church and 2 pubs. Just a 10-minute drive down country lanes along the valley is our mystery house.
Does it look familiar?
I don't think it does.
Not immediately.
Well, we happen to know this is one you've looked at online. You've looked at so many, you can't remember what you've seen.
No,
Exactly.
This is one that you have dismissed on paper.
Right.
We thought it would be quite an interesting experiment to bring you to one that you have rejected and see what you really think of it in the flesh. So what do you think?
Not sure.
Peter, what are your thoughts?
Nice looking from the outside, so I'm optimistic.
Well, this is another one that you could really put your mark on, and we've got some quite interesting plans for you, on paper this time, as to what you could do with it to turn it into a really cracking family home. Come on then, let's get out of the rain. That way. After you, Peter.
This old lodge house has been extended over the years and is currently configured as a main house and a self-contained annex. After looking at over 200 properties online, what I'm hoping this mystery house can offer is a vision of what to do with spaces that don't initially seem to fit the spec.
OK, let's start in here. Now then, Sandy, I'm going to take a flying guess and say that you think it's too small.
It's too small, yeah.
But in the plans for this place, the kitchen would move.
OK.
And this would probably be a rather nice study.
That sounds better. I certainly echo Sandy with it's too small for what we would use as we would want as a kitchen.
I know the kitchen is an important space for Sandy, so I'm hoping the plans for internal remodelling might catch her imagination.
So off the dining room, you've got the first, I guess, major reception room, really, which again makes the best use of these views. What are your thoughts on this? Because it's certainly, I think, one of the lightest we've been able to show you.
Nice. Like the fireplace.
Yeah.
Size. Getting there.
Getting there. Through this door is the annex. And you'll see where we're going with this one. This is the living room to the annex. Similar aspect to what we've just seen. Through this door, we've got a little kitchen area. And then through that hallway, big double bedroom, separate bathroom and separate loo as well. Now, this is where we're going with it. Forget this being an annex. Imagine this as an enormous family kitchen diner. This is what we're talking about. Have a look at this. Here's the spec. This is an image that the current owners have generated. So that's what you'd be looking at. That white wall there is where the fireplace is. And imagine it sweeping right the way through to give you the island, the kitchen, and all the rest of it.
OK.
Ooh. Face like thunder.
That's a diplomatic, not so sure.
Yeah.
Not so sure.
Not so sure. OK. I'm not giving up on this one. I'm really not. Come with me.
So the plans already drawn up would turn the ground floor of the annex, which includes the 4th bedroom, into a large L-shaped kitchen diner, which also makes the most of the views over the valley. The current kitchen and dining room could then become a study and a craft room. On the first floor, there is a family bathroom and a separate toilet which serve the 3 upstairs bedrooms, all of which are of a reasonable size.
There we go. This is ultimately the biggest one. A little bit more storage. I know that's an issue.
In terms of space, I think we'd need more space. In terms of this as a master bedroom, it's not quite big enough.
It is worth pointing out to you that above what could be your new kitchen in the annex end is an enormous loft space. And that could give you a really impressive master bedroom.
OK.
Yeah?
Something to think about.
It's a lot to think about, you know, but we did say we'd get creative when we started our house search. But of course, the price is going to be important on this one. Let's talk numbers outside.
The garden is the smallest of the 3 we've shown them. It's a parcel of lawn with a piece of woodland at the annex end of the property.
OK, so the garden, pretty much what you see is what you get. And at the moment, it's not really joined to the house in any great way. But going back to our original plan, you'd have double doors coming out to here. So, I did say it was about the price. Madam, for the final time of asking, what do you think our mystery house is on the market for?
I'd say about 45.
45, yeah?
Not far from what I was saying. 420.
420. Good news. It is 425. I think you could spec this up and have some fun doing it. But it's not about what I think, is it, Sandy? It's about what you think. And it's what you're thinking that really worries me. Well, look, go and have a look around again, and we'll catch up with you a little bit later.
Okay.
Off you go.
Thank you.
For well under their £500,000 budget, this house with an annex currently offers a large amount of space. With the £75,000 remaining, it could be remodelled into a bespoke family home, giving Sandy and Peter the 4 bedrooms and spacious open living spaces they really want, but it would mean taking on quite a lot of work.
When we walked up to the house, didn't recognise it at all from our slave list.
My biggest concern was seeing the proximity of the road that rang a few alarm bells, I have to admit, with having a 2-year-old daughter.
Nice character property, lots of charm. It's almost from walking in the garden, we could have said, no, this isn't for us. The garden's too small. And that's not an easily negotiable change. You can't magic up more garden.
Somebody could very easily make this their home. I can see the vision, but I don't think I can see the vision working for us.
Well, we have worked quite hard this week, but have we worked hard enough, I wonder? Come on, you two. Out you come. It's not raining. That's the good news. There's your brolly. Come on.
In the rural region of the Brecon Beacons is the village of Talybont, where 10 years ago, a resourceful group of residents set up the first community hydroelectric scheme in Wales. It's now making them £25,000 a year, selling energy back to the national grid, which gets spent on carbon-reducing local projects. I'm meeting husband and wife Peter Williams and Alison Kidd, 2 of the volunteer directors of the not-for-profit community initiative, to find out more about some of their projects.
Brilliant. I didn't even hear you coming. It's a bit spooky, isn't it?
That's the thing with electric vehicles, they're silent. Electric vehicles have tended to be focused on the city, but actually they're incredibly useful around here. We've got 10 of these in the network, and we rent them out to visitors to try and encourage our visitors to actually be driving around, because it's very nice to drive around silently here, because you hear the birds, you hear the rivers, you hear the waterfalls.
So how did this whole idea come about, Peter?
Well, we realised that the amount of energy we use in the countryside for moving ourselves around, we use twice as much energy to move here as people in London do. So we're looking for ways to reduce the energy that we need.
Can I get in there? Is enough room?
Yes, you can drive it, and I'll go in the back.
OK, let's go. It's compact, isn't it?
And the seatbelt is here for you.
OK, so what do I do?
So turn the ignition all the way around. D for drive and R for reverse.
My first spin in an electric car. And it's bizarrely quiet.
The network is regularly used by the locals who for short journeys replace their gas guzzlers with an electric vehicle. Alison and Peter own their microcars, but the community itself owns a larger electric car and a van that residents can access for just £25 a year.
And how far can it go before it runs out of juice?
This will do 50 miles on a warm day, a bit less during the winter, and a bit less if you drive fast or go up hills.
And how long will it take if it's completely
If it's
drained?
completely empty, it will take 3 hours, but most times you're just topping it up. We've got 40 charging points all over the Brecon Beacons, and all they are just cafes and pubs and castles and other attractions.
The funding for eco-friendly community vehicles comes from inside a building further up the hill. A decade ago, the forward-thinking locals got funding to put back into use a disused early 20th century turbine, and the power that it generates now gets sold back to the grid.
Gosh, it's noisy. For a small village scheme, it's making a real racket, isn't it?
I know.
And that's the water coming out the back of the turbine,
Right.
having come down from the reservoir.
Yep, that's 27 kilowatts, and that's what it looks like.
So simple, isn't it?
It is simple, yes.
But noisy.
Very noisy.
And the source of all the power that funds the projects down below is the majestic reservoir at the top of the hill. It was built in the late 30s by Newport City Council to provide drinking water for the residents.
And has this scheme inspired other projects?
Well, certainly there's a whole movement in this area and much wider now for communities to start generating energy for themselves renewably, but also generating income for that community. And that works particularly well in rural areas like ours.
I think we're likely to have to live a little differently in the future, and we might as well start learning how to now, and it doesn't have to be miserable. We'd like it to be a bit more fun.
Well, I've certainly had a lot of fun with the pair of you today. Well done, and keep it all going. It's a great way to explore this part of the world using the cars, but it's also great to think we're making the best use of the area's natural resources. Well, buying or selling property is never easy, and in many ways, I think this week has been a case in point. We've certainly given Peter and Sandy much to think about, but are we really any further forward in helping them realise their plans for the future? Well, let's go and ask them. OK, so we've looked at 3 houses. I don't know that we're any further forward in terms of identifying what it is you're looking for.
A lot of the properties we seem to have seen are disjointed. It felt to me quite a lot of the time in that people had put a bed in there and made it a bedroom. Well, naturally, it didn't feel like a bedroom.
I think another option that's growing in appeal at the moment is looking for a plot of land and self-building. I think that's perhaps one of the only ways we're going to get the layout, design and space that we're after.
So, where are we, Lem? We've given you some ideas as to what does work, we've given you some ideas as to what maybe doesn't work, and we've left you thinking that maybe you should start from scratch and build a house of your very own. Hopefully it's helped, because I think defining what you have been after has been your real struggle. And I hope we've managed to get you that bit closer. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your help.
Well, when it comes to property searches, they can take all kinds of twists and turns, and in the process, buyers can go through all manner of highs and lows. But for me, this week has been particularly perplexing. Whilst Peter and Sandy still seem very clear on where they want their new home to be, understanding what it will be, well, that, I think, is still an open-ended question. I'll see you next time.
If you would like to escape to the country in Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, England, or perhaps further afield to the continent and would like our help, then please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.